speaker for tonight, and just to share a little bit about me. I am a preacher's daughter of 40 years this year.
PK.
I am a PK, and I'm the oldest of 3 children. I have my sister, who's the youngest, with a brother in between, and we grew up going to what we used to call convalescent homes, and we would go and my dad would preach and play the piano and we would sing and we would visit, and who knew that years and years later in my lifetime that I would actually go into the senior industry. I have about 24 years of sales and marketing experience, from mortgage processing to Coca-Cola to the salon industry, and 9 years ago went into the senior industry. And I started out with Franklin House Assisted Living down in Sumner, and once the building was full, you can't do anything but just put people on a wait list. So I'm going to the hospitals and they're saying, I've got this person I need, and I said, oh, I have to put them on a wait list. Well, I wasn't helping any other families, so I thought that that was not a good fit for me any longer. So I went from there to a home care company, and from there I stayed with them for about 3 years, and it was strictly just companionship and personal care. Felt again I was really limited because if somebody had a feeding tube or was a diabetic or had a wound, open wound that needed to be treated, our company could not take care of that. We had to bring in a healthcare company. So after 3 years with that kind of a company that's just companionship and personal care, and went on to another company that had companionship, personal care, skilled nursing, and placement. So when the family member was no longer safe at home, even with a caregiver, maybe somebody with Alzheimer's, where the poor caregiver can't even go into the bathroom and shut the door because the client is on their way out the front door. Or they've lost their spouse and, they're no longer, they don't want to be in their home all by themselves. So I liked that I could assist with placement when somebody was no longer safe at home. So I did that with a company for a couple years, and then went to work for another company that was smaller and actually presented this placement part of it, because she did not have that. She was actually placing clients that were no longer safe at home with not a contract, and she wasn't getting paid, and she was just losing the money from her clients. So drew up a contract, had her take that to her attorney and get that approved, and actually taught her what placement was about. And then the following year decided to go ahead and branch out and actually start my own company. And the name of that company is Restoring Hope. And I love that title. So many families with their loved one are under so much pressure and stress. And especially the sons and daughters that are working full time and their kids are in school and they're kind of sandwiched in between, and the kids are in school and they're trying to deal with mom and dad, and they have to call in and take time off work to go to the hospital, go to the skilled community because mom fell and broke her hip and now she's at the skilled community for the next 8 weeks, and I don't think they can go home because their house is 2-story and their stairs, and that's not going to be a good fit even if they modify the house. So maybe going forward to an adult family home, assisted living, or memory care would be the very best suitable thing. So what I do is take that stress and worry, all those details, all those questions, and I meet with the family and discuss with them their finances, the geographical area that they're looking for. Will their loved one go on to Medicaid in the future? What does private pay look for them? Private pay means you are taking funds out of your own pocket. Social Security, pension, stocks, annuities, bonds, a sale of a house. Maybe they've got long-term care insurance, and after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days of paying privately out of your pocket, then that long-term care insurance policy will kick in and cover those. But we also have to look at those policies, don't we?
Yeah.
Some of them will say assisted living only. Some of them will say bring a caregiver in the home only. So you really have to really be careful about what you're purchasing also, and make sure it's going to cover the different options. A caregiver in the house, assisted living, memory care, and an adult family home. So there's 4 things that those things need to cover in a long-term care insurance policy. So going forward, my services are absolutely free to all families. I am contracted with the individual places that I show. So each adult family home, assisted living, or memory care, they have signed my contract telling me that they will give me a certain percentage of the first month's rent and care. So I get to take as much time with the family as I need to. I check a DSHS website. I make sure that anything I'm going to be showing has no enforcement letters against them. If there are enforcement letters, I open them, I read them, I find out what that enforcement letter says. If it's that they just didn't pay their annual dues on time, I don't care. They're just going to get a fine and they'll pay that, eventually. But if there is mismanagement, or there is sexual misconduct, or the caregivers haven't gone through their training and haven't received their certificates, that is by law they'd have to have. Those things I do not want to show. I wouldn't want to put my own mother in that situation, so I would not want to put another family's mother or father in that situation either. So I won't show those. So once I've actually checked those DSHS websites, make sure there's no enforcement letters against what I'm going to be showing, then I schedule all the appointments. I make sure that my family is going to be available, the day, the time, and if we're seeing 3 places, then I schedule all 3 right in a row. I'll either go there and pick them up. I will meet them at the first location, let them tour. If they want to leave their car there and we've okayed that wherever we're at, then they'll get in my car, is why I have to have the nice, expensive Arizona Mittens insurance, for my protection. So they'll either ride with me and I'll go on about that. I always give them a notepad and pen so that we can take notes and talk about the pros and cons of each places that we've actually gone to. And if they really like one or the other, there's sometimes other family members that also, want to come into the picture. So maybe we've narrowed those 3 down to 2, and they say, we want our brothers and sisters, to come too. So then we'll set another appointment and do that. Sometimes mom and dad can go, sometimes Alzheimer's is involved, and it doesn't make any sense to bring them along because we don't need that kind of confusion. So once the home is chosen, then I make sure that